Welcome to the Online Edge podcast, the only podcast that asks the question, why do superheroes wear their underwear on the outside of their tights? Hey everybody, I am here with my good friend Matt, and Matt is an owner of a golf cart business. Walk me through a little bit about, I guess first, we're going to take him through a branding exercise today because I want you guys to have an understanding of kind of real world branding exercises, what this would look like in a real world situation. So that's what we're doing today. Let me ask you this question, Matt. Kind of walk me through a little bit. I know basically what you do, but walk me through what selling new carts, selling repaired carts, repairing carts, that kind of stuff. Kind of walk me through what the business model is, and then I'm gonna have some questions to further that up, and then we'll walk through an exercise together.
Sure. So yeah, we've it's kind of like a full service type dealership. We have a couple of OEM brands that we work with. Start to finish. No repairs too small, too big. We sell new carts. We sell refurbished carts. We sell used carts. So, it's just kind of like a one-stop shop for your golf cart needs, really.
Very cool. So if I have a golf cart, I can call you guys to repair.
Yep. If
I'm looking for something new, then you guys can offer that. If I'm looking for something that's used to maybe save a little bit of money, you guys offer that.
Yep.
So just all of the above.
Yeah, and we're a parts distributor as well. So if you're looking, if you want to lift one up 6 inches and put 14-inch mud tires on it, we can do that as well. If you're looking just for parts, we can also service you there if you turn your own wrenches. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So talk me through right now. In our last podcast, we did a lot of talking about affiliation. I want to touch on that just a little bit today. Talk me through just a little bit about what a typical. You have all types of customers, I'm sure, because golfers need golf carts, families need golf carts, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Talk
to me through a little bit about what a typical, if you had to boil it down to one person of this is who my customer is, what would that person look like?
Yeah, so since we do service such a wide scope of people, we even work with some school districts and municipalities, so that's a whole different ball game in itself. I think just from listening to some of the podcasts and talking with you, as far as like a target audience, I think it would be best to just kind of hone in on people that want to have a relationship via a transaction. I think too many times people in my industry and the industry I was in previously, we try to get efficient with people, and that just doesn't work. Too many times I think we get in too big of a hurry. So I'm really looking for folks that, want to take the time to come to us and sit down and, hey, what are your needs? Here's what we can do. And then kind of build a relationship from there. A lot of what I do doesn't work without trust. So I want to be a vendor that people can trust.
Okay.
So
very good.
And you will find a lot of customers that come in and they want to be efficient. Like, hey, I've got X amount of dollars and I just want a golf cart right now and I don't really care what it is. Well, that's not really what I'm looking to do.
Okay.
It just leaves a whole lot of room for error.
So what? Let's drill into that a little bit. What are some of the errors that leaves room for?
Just unfulfilled expectations. So if you don't go over all of the wants and needs, and then you don't go over what our capabilities are, there's just too many open ends or loose ends.
So they may have wanted something or expected something that they didn't express, and because they were looking for a quick transaction, they ended up getting something that was like, oh, actually another cart would have been better for you.
Absolutely. And a lot of times folks come to us and they don't have a clue what they're looking for, really.
Sure.
They just know, like, hey, I see Joe down the street with a golf cart and I want one too, and I don't know anything about it. So a lot of times we really have to start from scratch with folks.
So there's an education process that can take place.
Absolutely. And that's where the relationship part really comes in.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. Do you have a typical age or you get more calls from males or females, that kind of stuff? Walk me through what, if you had to boil it down, what that would look like.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's more male than female.
Okay.
It's a little bit older, a little bit more established in life, maybe.
Okay.
Golf carts are kind of recreational for the most part.
And it's a luxury.
So, correct. So you're not going to find someone, a lot of times you don't see folks that come in that don't know what they're already expecting to get. As far as, hey, we're looking for a toy, and it's not like they're needing a new car to be able to get back and forth to work.
It.
So, yeah.
Okay. So lot of times it's male. Do you think there's a reason for that?
I don't know. I haven't nailed that down just yet. I mean, I do get some requests from females.
Sure.
But maybe it's
there's always exceptions to the rule, by the way. Like if you haven't already, you're going to have a 22-year-old that calls you at some point wanting a golf cart.
Right.
I mean, there's exceptions to the rules. Yeah. We're just trying to find the common thread throughout it when we can.
It's usually 35 plus. Okay. Mostly male.
So 35 plus is we can nail down the why behind that. They've got a family in all likelihood, so they've got some kids that maybe they want to cart around and have some fun with that.
Right.
That's generally the time of life where you're able to afford something that's a little bit more of a luxury item. So we've got that. Do you find most of your client base would is using them for more of a getting around the neighborhood and going to the pool and that kind of stuff, or
yeah. So with the way a lot of these subdivisions are built in North Texas these days, they put an elementary school in the middle of it and they build 2,000 homes around it, and it's like its own little micro community. So yeah, we get a lot more requests for a 4-passenger cart for people taking their kids back and forth to school or whatever.
Okay, and then golf carts for actual golfing.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say right now it's probably a 60-40 split. The 40 being actual legit golfers, and the 60 we're just starting to see a lot more of a just for neighborhood use type cart. So.
Gotcha. And so you said something earlier that I want to go back to. You said that sometimes when people call you, it's, hey, my neighbor has one, and so to a degree there's some affiliation there.
Yeah.
So there's this. I don't like the term keeping up with the Joneses, because I don't think that is as typical a thing as what it used to be, where I have to have this kind of house because this person has this kind of house. I think that mostly what it is people. I'm going to steal a phrase from a famous marketer, Seth Godin. People like us do things like this. So it's not keeping up with the Joneses like you're jealous of what somebody else has. It's okay. So when we live in this neighborhood, we do things this way. Going back to that HOA concept of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, we live in this neighborhood. Okay, so I need to use this type of grass. Yep. Okay, we live in this neighborhood. We use these types of colors. And most of the time, we all want to be a little bit unique, but we don't want to be radically unique. Not most people.
Yeah.
Most people want to stand out in a safe way. And so when you're talking about people like us do things like this, golf carts very quickly become that. Okay, when I reach a certain level, this is a purchase that can be made. It's almost, to a degree, for a lot of people, it's going to be a little bit of a rite of passage. I can afford this now.
Yeah.
I can do this. I'm at a stage of life where I can make this purchase. And those are, and so on the younger end of the spectrum, that becomes this thing where it's a purchase you're proud of. Hey, I'm buying this experience for my family. Yeah. That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. So there's an old phrase in marketing saying that you don't buy a drill for a drill. You buy a drill. When you go and buy a drill, you're actually buying a hole.
Okay.
And I would take that one step further and say you're not buying a hole. You're buying a shelf, or whatever experience that thing is actually going to provide you. So I might be, I might buy a drill to fix a washing machine, and so I'm not buying a drill. I'm actually buying clean clothes.
Yeah.
So take it to the furthest extent possible. So with this, people aren't buying a golf cart; they're buying an experience. And so to be able to hone in on that experience, you're a golfer yourself. Is there a pride showing up to a golf course with your own golf cart to be able to cart from your house to the course?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
So there's something different about the experience of showing up and renting the course cart and that kind of stuff and showing up in your own.
Yeah, and it's a whole different level at different country clubs and different courses. Like, I know you don't like the phrase, but there is a true sense of like trying to keep up with.
Sure.
We don't even have to call them the Joneses. Like, hey, Joe showed up in this fancy cart. Well, now I've got to go get one too, or I need that wheel and tire combo.
Yeah. So it's so they're that level, because I've thought of golf carts before. I'm obviously aware of them. I've driven them a couple of times, but I've never thought of a wheel and tire combo when it comes to a cart. But people who are golfers understand even that nuance to what a golf cart provides. Okay. So then take it to the family side of things as well. So if there's a level of status of showing up to a golf course in your own golf cart, and you live in the neighborhood and you rode that in and you parked it in your own garage and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be the same thing of showing up to the pool with your family in your own golf cart.
Yeah.
So to a degree, when you're drilling down into who the customer base is, status is going to be something that you're going to want to consider, which means through every piece of marketing material that you have, you realize that people are purchasing an experience. Part of that experience is actually riding in the cart. Part of the experience is showing up in the cart.
Gotcha. And
so that will influence the different pieces of marketing that you put together as a result of it. So whether that's as we put together a website, that needs to be a part of the filter that we put every piece of language through. This needs to speak to a little bit of status. This needs to speak to it's speaking up to people of hey, this is the feeling, the tone and tenor of what you're going to experience with this. We're selling an experience, and we understand that experience is at least twofold. It's the actual, hey, I want my family to be able to ride around, to have a toy, and it's the experience of showing up with that thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of my questions for you might be like, how do you balance that mixture of what I spoke to earlier about building a relationship, but sometimes with that sense of pride or whatever you want to call it, people might say that, you have your nose up in the air about it. Or so like, I want to try and hone in on the relationship part, but not overlook the little guy, but also do exactly what you were just talking about. How do you blend all those things and not come across too hard one way or too hard the other?
Yeah. So when it comes to the marketing side of stuff, it is, probably a lot of the images that you use are going to be maybe homes on golf courses and that kind of stuff. So that in and of itself speaks to something. Well, that doesn't disqualify me if I'm just looking to get around my property and I live on 15 acres in the country and I want a golf cart to tool around in.
Gotcha.
That doesn't disqualify me, but the opposite may. If the photos that we use are, people going down a dirt road to check their mail in their golf cart or something to that effect, if you live in a neighborhood with $800,000 homes, you may look at that and be like, oh, okay, cool, but they're probably not providing that for me. Yeah. I'm probably not their target audience in this situation. They may even think things like they may not make golf carts for my situation. I don't need an off-road golf cart.
Right.
So the balance is going to come in the story that you tell. Like we'll encompass both of those in the story. Whether you're driving a golf cart down a dirt road on your property, or you're using it to take your kids to the pool.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll cover it in the language, but we want images and a lot of the tone and tenor of what we're presenting to be, okay, this is the majority of our customer base though. Yeah. If we're being honest with ourselves, 90% of who purchases this are golfers or live in a neighborhood where it's a bit of a status symbol.
Well, and step one is probably get them to come to you first. Step two is probably develop the relationship when they come to you.
Right. Well, you're to a degree. So you're developing a relationship from the moment they hit that website.
Okay.
So if you want to build trust, then we got to use language that's going to do that. So we have to tackle some of the areas that, like, let me ask you this question. I don't view this industry, and it's probably my ignorance in the industry. Let's take a different industry for a second. The roofing industry has a reputation for being less than honest in a lot of situations. A lot of times a storm will hit, somebody will come in from 2 states over, go in, paper the neighborhood, get 4 or 5 roofs, and then they're out of there, which means they can't do repairs if there was an issue, which means that is their work insured at this point? Like they're not even here anymore. Yeah. I don't know if they're licensed. I know nothing. So when I work with a roofing client, we work on talking about covering every single one of those. We talk about being local. We talk about standing behind your work. We talk about those types of things that communicate, oh my gosh, that's the differences. They're going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
If I have an issue, and we all know at some point we're all going to have an issue with something.
Sure.
Everybody gets something wrong sometimes. Even Chick-fil-A didn't put extra pickles on my sandwich the other day. Everybody gets something wrong sometimes. And so because of that, we have to communicate, hey, we'll even be here if when things go wrong. That's the ultimate trust.
Yeah.
The ultimate trust is not things are always going to go right the first time. The ultimate trust is if it doesn't, I'll make it right.
Yep.
So All that kind of stuff can be communicated from a first visit on a website. So I gave you an example of, here's an industry. When you say trust, is there a reputation for in this industry for there being a lack of trust?
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, I think,
like, give me some areas. Like, how do I need to? What are the? It's obviously not just a, hey, here's money and here's a golf cart. You're trying to build a relationship there. So what are the areas that you're asking me to trust you in?
Just the quality of work. Like if we do a custom build, we're going to take the time to do it right. If there are problems during or after a build, we're going to take care of it. When we say that we're going to make a repair, say you already have a cart and we're going to fix it a certain way with a certain type of part and we're going to warranty it, those are the types of things that I think sometimes in this industry get overlooked. And really it's as a whole. Like if you look at just regular automotive repairs, you got to have that type of trust. I mean, I was in transportation for 14 years and ran shops and all kinds of stuff.
And anytime we don't, as consumers, anytime we don't understand something, there's a level of nervousness of, are you going to tell me I need to replace? Because if you tell me I need to replace a shaft, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to trust you in this, or just keep going.
Yeah.
We have that with doctors because we know doctors take oaths and they're kind of known for building that trust of, we're going to do, this is, we're not going to tell you something's wrong if it's not wrong, that kind of thing. So we don't question that industry.
Yeah.
But we do question a lot of other industries, especially when we don't understand.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody just thinks like, hey, this guy's just here to make $1. Well, yeah, we're here to make $1, or we wouldn't be in business, but we're here to do it right and to earn your trust.
Exactly right. So there's a service component to it that at the end of the day, and one of the most important things I think to communicate in any service industry is, we're going to make it right even if it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that communicates trust to me like nothing else. I have a client and a friend who is in the AC business. And that business is notorious for people showing up and saying something's a little bit more expensive is wrong. And I don't know.
Right.
I'm scared to touch my air conditioning unit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he does is goes in, walks people through, over communicates. Hey, here's your options. We can try to put a Band-Aid on it. We can do this thing, or we can upgrade. But the entire plate of options is given. And even there, with giving me an option means trust.
Yeah.
Proves trust.
And you can build that via reputation over years.
Absolutely.
But as a guy that's, I've been doing this for a long time, but we're just officially,
you just went full time with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how do we convey that message, get that trust right up front without it taking years to develop a reputation?
Right. So obviously, like you said, it takes years to develop a reputation. There's no real shortcuts to that, but there is some things that we can do through branding that convey that. And so one of the things I like thinking about things in kind of a story mode. So when we're developing trust when you're reading a book or watching a movie and you're trying to see a character that's got some trustworthy components to them in that, there's going to be some examples of that. There's going to be a language that's used. There's going to be extra explanation. I've already mentioned that, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
Literally walking through options. We can do that on the website. So those are things that it's like, man, every single step of the way, I feel like I have some level of control in this. And when people feel like they have control, the trust in you goes up. Just based off of, okay, because I'm not putting 100% of my trust.
Right.
I feel like he's putting trust in me even to make a good decision.
Yeah.
So that stuff goes both ways. And you obviously can convey that one-on-one, but we can also convey that digitally.
Gotcha.
And so when we're talking about marketing, that's an important thing to do, is to convey that concept digitally. So when you are approaching a client or a customer, and let's talk about it from a digital perspective. When you're approaching them digitally, so it's a Facebook post, it's how things read on the website, it's that kind of stuff. Every single step of the way, people want to see, okay, he's done this before, So you're already doing that right now on your Facebook page when new carts are going out, taking a photo of them and when they're being delivered, that kind of stuff. But you can do that. There can be a page of the website that is some of our work, maybe some of the custom stuff that you were super proud of,
sure.
Some of the repairs that have been done, those types of things. And then of course, just new, here's some inventory, that kind of stuff. But all of that is going to say, okay, he's done this before. This is not something that's brand new to him. That side of stuff builds trust. Yeah. Just a reputation that's already happened, that they get to look back on that timeline of. It might be a picture you did 2 years ago, but to me, that in and of itself establishes trust.
Yeah,
because this picture's still up here, and you did it 2 years ago. So that's one way of doing this. Another way of doing it is going to be to position yourself properly and position the customer properly. Whatever, I'm going to go back to a story mode. The business is never the main character in the story, ever. It always feels like they should be. It feels like the business should be. It's my business. So me as the business owner, or the business in and of itself, it has to be the main character in the story. But you are in business to solve a problem. Now, you have a luxury item for most people, and so it may feel like, I'm not solving a problem. I'm giving them something that they don't necessarily need, but it's a want. Even that, their want is a problem.
Right.
You are scratching an itch, so you are solving a problem. So the main character in the story is always the customer, and you are the mechanism to meet that need.
Gotcha.
So when you're thinking about stuff in story mode, you become the for Star Wars reference, because my 10-year-old will like that. You become the Obi-Wan character for Luke, or Yoda character for Luke. You're the person who guides them along the way. So think about yourself like that, and we need to put that together digitally as well. You become the one who takes them the next step on their journey. So if I call you up and I just need a golf cart, because 17 of my neighbors have one, and why am I the only dang one on my street that doesn't have a golf cart? I'm gonna have a lot of questions, because I literally didn't know that a wheel and tire package was a thing.
Yeah.
So I need you to help me meet that need. So identifying the need is going to be important, not just from a sales end of things, but even helping people understand that there's options out there digitally. That's going to be important. And then feeling like they're in safe hands for somebody who's going to walk them through every single step of that. So if you want the most basic one possible, just because you want something that you can hit the gas and it goes, we got that.
Right.
And if you want a custom one that you've picked, seat colors and wheel and tire packages and whatever other options there are available. I just picked a couple that I'm pretty sure that you do have available.
Yeah, there's a whole lot.
Then we can do that. So from everything from the most basic thing to the most amazing thing that you can imagine, we're going to take care of you every single step of the way, and we're going to help you get everything that you want and nothing that you don't.
Now, is that concise enough? Like, is that even a target audience for, people that we've talked about?
I think that
does that tie back into the affiliation theme?
So the everything from here to here, maybe. Do people in $600,000, $700,000 neighborhoods buy basic golf carts, or do they all upgrade something?
No, there's definitely a level up type deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
well, and I've even seen it. So like one that I delivered this week, his HOA had very strict rules on it had to be no older than 4 years old.
Wow.
Had to be one of 4 manufacturers. Could only be OEM color. They couldn't, go crazy with the colors. So like they were definitely pushing it to a new level as far as like, okay, you can't roll in with a piece of crap and expect us to register it.
I have never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
It's next level golf carts.
Yeah.
So what I would do then is I would put together the affiliation and aim. I would find a specific. I'd think back over clients and say, hey, okay, this person, like this one's probably not the most representative. Is that the one time that you've run into an HOA that had like extreme?
Yeah, no, everybody's got a few regulations about what you can and can't have. So now, that is definitely the most extreme that I've seen so far.
So just even that is something that's going to help you identify affiliation. So if the HOA has set those requirements, an HOA board got together and said, we don't want people rolling in with 6-year-old golf carts.
Right.
That is a thought that has never crossed my mind because I've never owned a golf cart before. But I understand it.
Yeah.
So there's that level of community in thinking this side of stuff through. So when you are presenting to them, just even knowing that, you're not showing them a 10-year-old golf cart.
Yeah.
Which means that even needs to influence the stock that you got and that kind of stuff. That needs to influence the stuff that we show on the website. We're probably not showing, hey, we just redid this when it's 10 years old and we got it running great. That's probably not the one that we want to demonstrate.
Yeah, it's just hard to pick a spot and go. And in the other podcast I heard that if you aim too wide, you're going to miss it all.
Well, so. and exactly right. So, but if you aim really narrow, you'll catch those edges. So gotcha. It's just the opposite thought process. You're not going to disqualify. If I go on your website, I don't live in a $1 million neighborhood and I've never bought a golf cart before. If I go on your website and I see what's a high-end golf cart cost?
Oh, $10,000.
Okay. So if I see a $10,000 golf cart and I'm on your website, that doesn't disqualify me.
Right.
I may have to say, hey, do you have another option? But I don't go on there and say, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But the opposite can be the case.
And it might get somebody that was in the $6,000 range to maybe shoot just a little bit higher.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Because even that's affiliation.
I get it. Yeah.
So if you aim narrow, you will hit wide. You'll gain a wider base than you thought you would. If you aim wide, you'll miss them all.
Gotcha.
Or you won't get nearly as much as you thought you would.
It's a hard concept to grab a hold of.
It is a hard concept. It's hard to do because our intuition says to do the opposite. We serve everybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to show up if we say we serve everybody. But in most places, if you live in a town of over 100,000 people, 80,000 people, 60,000 people, you can't think like that.
Yeah.
You can't. And you're servicing, 5 million people possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
in the metroplex of Dallas.
I'll even go almost to Fort Worth or South.
There you
Dallas.
go. So we're talking millions of possibilities if there's no reason to go that wide.
Yeah.
Because if you go that wide, you'll end up missing. You will isolate your target audience.
Gotcha.
By doing that. So thank you guys so much for joining us today for the Online Edge podcast. If you got anything out of this, give us a like, comment your questions below. We're going to be on this branding series for the next few weeks. So make sure that you do not miss a single episode. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate you, dude. Yep.